Welcome to Women of Impact with Andrea Woolf, the podcast of amazing women with inspiring stories, where you'll hear inspiring interviews with women entrepreneurs and women executives, sprinkled with actionable, uplifting tips, strategies, and thought-provoking content from Andrea Woolf. And now, here's Andrea.
Welcome. This is Andrea Woolf, host of Women of Impact, amazing women with inspiring stories. And today I'm delighted to interview the one and only, the inspiring Cynthia Jolicoeur, who is an extraordinary 4th degree black belt and self-protection expert. Welcome, Cynthia.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here with you.
Oh, likewise, my friend. Okay, so let's start with sharing a little about yourself. What are you currently doing and why did you start it?
Well, what I'm currently doing is building a speaking program and building an online program so that I can reach more women, because not everybody can come and train with me in person. And what got me into it was actually an experience I had way back when I was in my 20s, when I was with some friends and got robbed at gunpoint.
Ooh, wow.
And at that point, I was young, I was naive, I really didn't know what to do. The concept of danger in the world was pretty alien, and I was just at a loss. And as I grew older, I just thought, I got to learn how to deal with situations like that. And gosh, why didn't I learn about that as I was growing up? Why didn't I learn how to keep myself safe?
Right.
Just the same way as I was learning how to cross a street and, you know, how to do normal things like first aid, even basic first aid. I learned some of that, but nobody really talked to me about, you know, girl, these are some of the dangers you might come across out in the world. And here are some of the things you can do so you can keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
So that kind of became my mission, was to create programs and to talk to other women and teach other women and train other women to give those knowledge and skills that I didn't have and that most of us don't actually receive as we're growing up. Because I think it's a huge detriment for us to be walking around in the world either unaware or feeling completely unprepared to deal with the hazards and dangers that we tend to have to deal with. So that's what I'm up to now. I'm working with women to teach them how to deal with everything from just the annoying creeps and jerks to the domestic or intimate partners who are behaving badly and becoming coercive or abusive, and then all the way up to those violent predators that tends to be the focus of most self-defense stuff. So that's what I'm up to now.
I can't tell you how incredible it is that you've taken like your life experience and you're actually doing something with it so powerful in the world. Talk about like walking your talk and living your mission.
Absolutely. And I actually just had a conversation with another coach yesterday about like, why do we do this and why do we teach? And the reality is that like I got the information for myself because I wanted to learn how to keep myself safe. And then once I realized how simple it really was to tap into your natural tools and resources and to really tap into your inner power, I just thought it would be criminal basically for me not to share this knowledge with other women. Like I can't keep it for myself and not share it, because what I can do by working with other women is help make them safer. And like, how could I not? Right. So that discovery for myself really did lead to wanting to teach and wanting to share it with other women all around the world.
Right. Well, we share this in common because, how I came up with the idea of, besides sort of it being a highly intuitive download, but how I came up with it is I've been coaching women entrepreneurs and women executives. I've been a coach for over 25 years, for a long time. And yeah. I was seeing like common threads running through how they were holding back and, not fully playing in the world and all kinds of complicated reasons, and not being and having the impact that they're really here to be and have. So this is very similar, but obviously a very different focal point in what's motivating us both. It's amazing.
Yeah, very similar. I'm a 4th degree black belt, and I spent more than 20 years doing martial arts, which is what I thought self-defense was. And along the way, I discovered that actually self-defense and martial arts are two totally different things, complementary, but very different. And like you, I saw a lot of women who wanted to learn how to be safe, but had zero interest in becoming a martial artist.
Right.
And like the cool thing is you don't have to. You don't have to be a martial artist. Martial arts are all about self-discipline and learning choreographed sequences of movements that you can master and perform like absolutely perfectly when you need to.
Yeah.
And in the real world, when we're dealing with real people, well, number one, in the physical side, that lovely choreography is useless. It isn't the part of your brain that is actually available to you when you're terrified and when you're in the moment. What's there is what you're designed to use as a human being. So right away, there's a disconnect if you've been training martial arts, but you don't have that awareness of how your brain and your body actually works. But the other thing was understanding that the self-defense paradigm that's very male dominated, like the whole conversation is very masculine. Yeah. It pretty much only has focused on the physical realm. And in talking to women, like they echoed exactly what I wanted, which was, I don't want to have to fight for my life. I would rather not be in that situation in the first place. Thank you very much.
Right.
And so how do you learn how to recognize situations and then how to navigate through them and de-escalate if you can, or, manage the dynamics of a communication that seems to be heading south? How do you do all of that if you can, so that you don't end up in a situation where you have to fight for your life? And then if you have to fight for your life, well, how can you do that using your natural tools as opposed to all of these complex motor skill things that you have to memorize and become perfect at?
Yeah.
That makes sense?
I love what you're saying. And I just, before we get too far away from it, sort of a funny story. So many years ago, I was at university, in the University of London, and I had friends from all over the college, not just in my departments. I was studying French and Spanish. So one of my friends was in one of the sciences, and he was like shorter than me, and I'm not tall, but all muscle. And he found out he was, I don't know what level of black belt, but he was black belt. Mm-hmm. And he invited me into his class. In fact, he dared me to come to his class. And I am a peaceful, loving woman, right? Mm-hmm. So I took a deep breath because I was being challenged. I didn't want to say no, but it really is not my gig, right? This was not my passion at all. But I really did want to actually get in shape, so I said yes. And I went to his class. He was an extraordinary teacher. And he kept using me as, when he was showing examples of moves, where he'd come with a millimeter of my cheekbone, for example, and to see if I would scream, which I fervently didn't. But anyway, so I really loved the exercises, not so much the actual karate. And we were paired up with each other. And I was paired up with a very tall, not friendly guy. And we were supposed to be far enough apart so that we wouldn't actually hurt each other. Well, his reach was much longer than mine. And we didn't quite step back enough. So at a given moment, there was where he was coming very close to seriously hurting me, and I screamed and ducked, which was not a good idea. But that was the moment where I knew I needed to stop doing this. This was like not for me. So I have fond memories of some of what you're saying, which is it's not necessarily about the karate. I love that, and so I'm actually very interested to learn from you about like how to self-protect without necessarily all that.
Great.
Very great distinction. Really. Yeah. Okay, so let's get to you. Yes.
Okay.
What's your big vision?
My big vision is that we will reach a point in time in the world where the people who look at women and want to target them for bad actions actually think twice. And instead of assuming well, she's probably going to be an easy mark. Like, she probably won't resist. She probably can't do anything. Instead of thinking that, they think, ooh, odds are good she can actually do something. She can kick my ass if she needs to. Odds are good she's not actually helpless. Even if she's tiny, petite, looks like she's fragile,
Right.
odds are still good that she's not going to be a good target. So that's my vision, is that there are enough women who can tap into their natural skills and have the knowledge and understanding of how to deal with that whole range of situations. Like I said, from the creeps to the abusive partners, all the way up to the predators, so that the way they carry themselves in the world is different.
Right.
And that the men and women who want to target them think twice.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
I love it. I know energy is everything, right? It is everything. It's like kids in the playground that, the bullies mess with who they know they can mess with. Something like that, right?
Yes, they do. And all the research on why criminals and predators target specific people shows that it has nothing to do with what your age or your weight or your height or your size is. It doesn't have anything to do with how you're dressed. What it has to do with is whether or not you give off a vibe that says not likely to fight back, not likely to cause a problem, probably isn't going to hurt me. Because what these guys don't want is, they don't want the situation to take too long, because the odds increase of them getting caught. And they don't want to get hurt, because again, the odds will increase that they're going to end up getting caught. So they look specifically for people that they are pretty confident are going to comply. So how you carry yourself and that sense of don't mess with me is really important.
Yeah.
So, and also that it's not like false bravado, because there's a lot of girls that carry themselves like, oh, I could kick your ass. Well, that's different. And that can be kind of challenging. But when you actually have had some experience in realistic, like scenario-based training, and you've actually gotten to test out how you can respond in certain situations that are like as close as possible to real violent encounters, and you come through those, then you carry yourself with like genuine confidence.
Right.
And you don't have to be bombastic or full of, some kind of, like, I'm a tough girl, because you just exude that natural confidence that's based on your own inner knowing and your own experience of yourself. And so that's really important.
Yeah. Great information. Great advice. Okay. So in your life, what's the biggest struggle that you've overcome in your life?
Well, there have been quite a few. I would say recently, the biggest struggle that really took a huge amount of inner resources and caused a lot of like self-questioning and self-doubt, and was really characterized by having to navigate through immense fear, was seeing my two younger children go through a period of time where they were completely off the path. They both got into substance abuse and alcohol and all kinds of crazy behavior.
Yeah.
And like, I lost control of what they were doing. And I spent a lot of time living in fear of what was going to happen with them.
Right.
And so that was probably the most challenging thing that I have ever had to deal with. And like, the cool thing is, here we are several years later now, and they are both like fine, mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, strong young people who are creating their own lives the way they want to. So all of that chaos and everything is in the past. But I'll tell you, going through it was terrifying.
Yeah.
And really it was like going into the abyss where things are just horrible and you don't know what the outcome is going to be. And I do remember feeling so many times that there was nothing that I could do, that I was powerless. And that, it turned out not to be true, but that was how I felt as I was going through it.
Yeah. So I'm sure you were there for them, even though you were feeling powerless, right?
Yes. And actually, what I finally figured out was that the only way through that period of time was to be relentlessly loving and positive. That was the only possible way to go through it. I couldn't try to pressure or manipulate or coerce or force or manage them, but I could just show up, day in, day out with immense love and keep repeating to them, I know we're going to get through this. I know things are hard right now. I love you. I see a great future for you. I know you're going to figure this out, and just like continue relentlessly to be positive and loving.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I could think of to do. And apparently that was a successful approach because, like I said, they are both in great shape now and
awesome.
Being great adults now. So
I got a full body chill when you shared the phrase, I know we're going to get through this. I know, when I call it coach speak, being a stand for somebody, like
yes.
You love your kids, you have 4 kids, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And it's wonderful, like not giving up on them and hanging in there and doing your best, right? Very inspiring, really wonderful stuff.
Well, it translates to all kinds of things, really, because who among us does not face those kinds of situations where we feel really lost and where we don't believe that we can actually get through it? I mean, we all go through times like that. And in working, for example, with women who are in domestic violence situations, they often experience that same thing of like, there's nothing I can do. I'm just stuck.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way out. And what they need is somebody who can do what you just said. I love that phrasing of to take a stand for them and just be there and say, there's a way out.
It's very powerful, right? Somebody believes in you, even in the midst of your lost space, there's a way back.
Yes.
So lest we skim over this, I was actually acknowledging you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great job. All right. So let's look at another whole place in life. What are you most proud of? It could be anything in your business, your family, anything. What are you most proud of?
Gosh, I am immensely proud of my children. I find that, like, when you become a mother and you have these cute little babies, like, that's so much fun, and they're so, you really get into that, but you have no idea what kind of adults and human beings are going to turn out to be. And so when I look at my 4 children, they're very different people. One is a software engineer. She's a PR professional. My younger daughter is a graphic designer, and my younger son now is getting into automotive mechanics and repair. So like totally different fields.
Yeah.
But what they all have in common, and what makes me so proud of them, is that they're not following somebody else's path. Wow. They are really genuinely creating their own path. And believe me, there's been a lot of people who've been trying to tell them what the right thing for them to do is. But they're figuring out the right thing for themselves. So that kind of being in alignment, especially for like they're all under 30. So between 21 and 20, almost 29. So for that generation, there's a lot of like, what do you do? There's a lot of influences. And I'm really proud that they're making their own way. And I'm also really proud of them for being genuinely good and honorable people. They each have tremendous compassion for other people, and they are not afraid to take stand for other people. They each are very generous, so they're very giving of time and attention and support. And they are trustworthy. Like, I would trust them with anything. So they've turned out to be the kinds of people that I would like want to be friends with and be associated with if I wasn't their mother.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like, yes. I mean, I had no idea how they were going to turn out, but the fact that they're all truly good people is something that I'm really proud of. And I can't take all the credit for that, but I will take some because I obviously have encouraged them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. That is so beautiful. Very, very moving.
Thank you.
So if there was a kernel of brilliance that you could share with your fellow women of impact listening in, what would it be? Like a tip, a quick tip, or a strategy?
Number one, top of the list, no matter what context we're talking about, it is to trust your instincts and intuition. When you get a feeling about something, a gut feeling about it, honor that. It's there for a reason and it's powerful. It's something that is actually a great gift to us. And there's a lot in the world that tries to tell us we should dismiss it and that we should be rational and logical and have a good reason for why we're doing something.
Right.
Never mind. Like, trust that and don't necessarily try to poke at it and dig at it and figure out, well, why does this decision feel like it's not quite the right decision, or why am I being called in this direction?
Right.
It's there for a reason. Trust it, because it is truly a woman's superpower.
Ooh, it's a woman's superpower. I absolutely love that. I actually agree with you that when we're in a place of trusting ourselves, right, as women, the access gets quicker and quicker.
Yeah.
To that inner voice, that gut, wherever you feel it in your body. Each of us, it's a different place. But I really agree with you. And it's not that there are no intuitive men on the planet. There are many.
Yes.
But largely speaking, we come with that package. So when we access it,
yes,
slow down and listen.
Yes, and I think it's really cool that we don't have to come up with an explanation or a reasonable argument for why. We can just say, like, I don't know why I feel like I feel, but I know that I feel it and I trust it.
Right. Yes, indeed. Oh my God, that's so great. And what's the one lesson that you've learned that has most impacted your business and or your life?
Lesson. Wow, there's been so many, but
right.
I mean, obviously one of them is what I just said, which is just like, trust yourself. When you get that feeling, trust it. But another one would just be to, if you feel in alignment with something, commit to it and stick with it. And it seems as though what happens in personal life, in business, is that when you say, this is what I want and this is what I'm going to commit to, there's all kinds of things that pop up as obstacles and impediments. And, there's all these little voices that start chirping, no, that's not right. And you can't do that. And who are you to do that? You just, if you're called to do it, stick with it. And it takes a lot of persistence and courage to really stick with something through all of those things that come your way that are there. And I think the reason that they come up is to test whether or not you really meant what you said when you said, this is what I want.
Interesting.
And I have run into that numerous times, especially in building the business. It's like, God, why isn't it working? Why is this coming up? How come this is so hard? And it's like, well, it's a test. Like, are you really committed to what you said you're committed to? Do you really want to have the impact you want? Right. Do you really want to help women the way you want to do it? Because if you do, then you're going to keep going and get through these things. And it's true. If you keep on going, you will get through all of those things. Just don't let those bumps and those nasty little voices of doubt and fear and those kinds of things deter you if you really make a commitment.
Just a quick tip from me. Coaching is constantly being an inquiry, right? What's next? And so I actually don't use the why question at all, especially with clients who are doing it to themselves, self-questioning.
Yeah.
Why aren't I further along? Why am I only whatever their title is, right? In an organization. There is actually no answer to most why questions except, well, you are. That's the way it is. And so, this is just a tip. Adding into your wonderful brilliance here. I stay away from why questions and ask it any other way. What would blah, blah, blah look like? What would it take for you to? How could you? Or by when would you like to? Like any other question, but why? Because why can be paralyzing. There's a little bit of critical parent inside it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why haven't you done your homework? Why didn't you clean your room? This is why children get into trouble.
Yeah.
Because there's no actually good answer to that when your parents are asking you those types of questions.
Yes, and I mean, sometimes it's completely irrelevant why. Like the only time that I think that question why is really important is in my world. We ask, like, why do you want to survive an encounter? Why do you want to be prepared? Why do you want to get through something?
Right, because that gives you
if you're not in touch with that,
right,
then things are a lot harder. So I think that's the only time that why question is really relevant.
Super great. Super great. Yes. Okay, great. So I understand that you have a wonderful gift for our amazing Women of Impact listeners. So would you share it?
Yes, because so many women wanted to have something quick and easy that would really amp up their awareness and their ability to protect themselves without having to come and do a training program of, hours or days. I created a very simple guide. It's a 2-page download that you can get that's basically 10 quick tips for how you can avoid being in a situation where you can be assaulted. So that's what it is. I think you have the link for it, and we'll put it in the show notes, I suppose. And
would you like to share the link, or shall I go ahead?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, here we go. It's www.Cynthia, CYN for nothing, THIA, Jolicoeur, JOLICOEUR.com /freebie. I'm going to repeat it, and I'll repeat it again. www.CynthiaJolicoeur.com /freebie.
Yes.
Great. And so it's going to be, in case you missed it, it's going to be in the episode description. So you can go see it. But one more time, it's www.Cynthia, CYNTHIA, Jolicoeur, JOLICOEUR.com /freebie. Run, don't walk to get this invaluable information in 2 pages. How great is that? As busy as we all are, 2 pages.
You know what? I have to say, it was really a great exercise to go through putting that together, because like distilling like all the things that I wish women knew down into 10 quick tips that would actually make a difference was really difficult. So these are really short, sweet, to the point, powerful little tips, and it's easy to consume, so it's not going to take you forever. And they're the kind of thing that once you read through them and think about them, they just stick with you. This is not something where you have to go back and go like, oh, I got to memorize this because otherwise I'm going to forget. Because each one of them is kind of a light bulb moment. It's like an aha thing, and once you get it, you've got it.
Yeah, super great, ladies. Look, you and I know that this is not your favorite reading. However, Head in the Stand is how we mostly walk the planet. And this isn't scary, right, Cynthia? This stuff's not scary?
No.
It's not scary. It's information. Information is power. So you want to be more powerful, because you wouldn't be listening to my podcast. This is all about increasing your impact, right, as the amazing woman that you are. So really, run, don't walk to get this download, because it will be invaluable. And like Cynthia's saying, it's going to stay with you, and it's not scary. It's just great information to have. So go get it. Go get it now. So thank you so much, Cynthia, for your amazingness and brilliance. You're very unique, and you're just wonderfully soft and huggable at the same time. You know what I mean? You're not some big, muscly, scary woman. And you make it safe. You make it safe, my friend. And you do it really, really well. So I just really want to thank you for sharing your brilliance here.
Well, thank you so much, Andrea, for giving me the opportunity to come on the show. And also, you talked a little bit at the beginning about how you are a stand for women and helping them actually have the impact that they want to have. And I have to say, like, you definitely have been super supportive of me doing that and continuing to grow and reach out to more women. So I just want to say thank you for that and for being the stand that you are, because that's how you're having an incredible impact.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right back at you, really. We're having a love fest. It's so great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So this has been Andrea Woolf with the one and only Cynthia Jolicoeur on Women of Impact, amazing women with inspiring stories. Thank you again, Cynthia. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And remember to go get her special gift, 10 must-know ways to avoid being assaulted. And we've said the link 16 times, so go get it. Thank you so much for listening, and to your magnificence.
You've just heard another powerful episode of Women of Impact with Andrea Woolf, a podcast of amazing women with inspiring stories. Now it's your time to review this episode and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already done so. And last, go to the episode description to download whatever gifts Andrea or her guests have reserved for you. Have a great day.